What's up, everyone? Welcome to the What's Your 5 podcast, episode 16. That means we can get our permits, which is pretty awesome. My name is Rodell, and joining me this week is my resident gaming host and good buddy of mine, Mr. JoelFrrr. How are you doing, sir?
What's up, man? I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I am awesome. So I got my PS5. I also got the new iPhone, which is pretty slick. So I'm rolling in the dough right now, or rolling in debt, one of the two. and I also got the other best console of all time, the Game & Watch.
That you mean the hand cramp 9000? That's what that looks like.
Hand cramp 9000 that tells the time, folks. Tells the time. I'll tell you that much. It's pretty cool. This week's episode, or today's episode, is going to be top 5 last gen games. Now, last gen technically is PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. Now, granted, you can Switch is kind of transitioning between one and the other. You can call it the way it is. I'm going to say it's last gen, considering the fact that it all kind of came out on the same.
I agree.
So that's what we're recording tonight. But first, I do want to mention and thank everybody who participated in our Final Fantasy giveaway of November. Today was the last day to actually enter that. So we will be announcing the winner, and I'll be reaching out to them on the December 7th episode of the What's Your 5 podcast, which should be episode 17. Again, please keep liking us, keep subscribing to us, watch the videos, all that good stuff. Hit the bell, get the notifications, because we're actually going to be doing a big giveaway in December. So keep on the lookout for that. We'll also have another special guest for the month, so we can go ahead and get some more perspective as far as our opinions. Because so far, I think Joel and I are pretty much on the same point. Minus, I think SmackDown or something along the lines of that.
Get some free stuff, people. You're already listening. You're
already listening. I know you're already listening. Just get free stuff, and all you got to do is click buttons. I'm not asking you to, send me money or send Joel money or send Anthony money. I'm not, there's no starving kids in Africa. All I'm asking you guys to do is like, subscribe. Also, we also created a TikTok. Now, granted, I'm not a crazy TikTok person, but we do have a TikTok. You can reach out to all of our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at what's_your_5. If you want to be a part of the show, or if you have any topics to suggest for any of the future episodes, you can also reach out to us at topics@whatsyour5.com, and that's the number 5. So with that all out of the way, so we've had our PS5s now for about a week now ish, right? So I mean, it'll be a week tomorrow because we're recording this on a Wednesday, so it'll be
Thursday. Yep,
Thursday. So what do you think so far? What's your week review, Joel? What do you think?
So I told Rodell this like the first night I got it. This to me feels like next gen. I haven't felt next gen in a long time. So PS4 was cool, but the launch PS4 was still 1080 and the PS3 was 1080. So
yeah,
it was what it is. The PS3 kind of had a weak launch in my opinion. So I really haven't felt like a new next gen console. Like Switch was original, but a next gen console, I haven't felt this jump since PS2 in my opinion. Mm-hmm. PS2 was like, oh shit, there's a console menu and interface. There's I know there's one on the PS1, but you never went to it because you
it was memory card
game automatically.
Was it memory card and CD player?
That's right. But yeah, everything about it feels next gen. They modernized the UI, great overhaul, which Xbox did not do.
No,
the controller, I love it, but we'll see, because if the devs don't use it, then all the features are kind of useless.
Yeah, I mean it's the Switch, it's the Switch, or it's the Nintendo mentality, right? Like if you have this amazing console like the Wii, but if developers don't know how to develop on the Wii except for Nintendo, then
that's where I think it's different, because Nintendo makes like the top 10 Nintendo games, probably 9 of them Nintendo develops.
Yeah,
while Sony does have like they have their exclusives. They're made by other companies, made by Insomniac or Rockstar. Yep. So it's not like it's Sony developing all the games. So we'll see, man. I have good or happy and sad vibes because I'm loving Miles Morales.
Yes.
Sad vibes is that I'm right before the last story mission.
Oh
As of
no.
this morning, so sad times.
So I am very fortunate that this is my first time playing a Spider-Man game, and I'm loving it. Like I'm loving the Miles Morales story. I love the movie for one. I do love that story arc in the Spider-Man universe. Go ethnicity. And so diversity, right?
Yeah,
And so it's just really cool to have that perspective, and playing it is absolutely fantastic on a PS5. Like just web slinging. I mean, I remember you were telling me on the last episode, you're just like, you can quick travel to different places, but it's something so satisfying just swinging through New York. Oh man, it's just. And then you hear all the banter in the background, which is kind of cool too, because I've been in New York, and you hear all these crazy people running down the street, or like, hey man, like like you just, it's it definitely had true to form. They did a lot of love between, both Spider-Man, Miles Morales, because obviously they're kind of in the same engine, but yeah.
Are you doing a performance mode or graphics mode?
I am currently I'm doing the 30 frame lock. So I think that's performance mode.
30 frames is the graphical mode with the ray tracing.
Okay. Never. That's what I'm doing. Sorry.
If you're doing, don't change it. Trust me. Because once you move to performance mode and you get that 60 frames, you can't go back. It feels slow. So appreciate the reflections. I did the reverse. I did performance mode, and I was like, let's see this graphics. I was like, oh damn, it looks good. Then I did one web sling. I was like, nope, not doing it. So maybe when I play the remaster, the Spider-Man 4 remaster, or Spider-Man for PS4 on PS5 remaster, I'll try it.
That's what I was again, I ended up buying the Ultimate Edition because I wanted to make sure that I got that Spider-Man game, because I wanted to have an actual game for PS5. And in fact, when you were talking about the week launches, I mean, I remember buying my PS4 and I didn't buy any games with it. I bought, and I just downloaded Resogun because I had a PS Plus membership or whatever, and that was the one game I played. And I think my PS4 sat there for literally about a month and a half before I actually got a game. And to be perfectly honest with you, I don't remember what game it was.
You didn't play the PS4 Classic Knack?
Yes, I did not play that game.
Awful, by the way.
Awful, absolutely terrible. And you mentioned PS3. I'm trying to think, what was the PS3 launch like? I don't even remember.
I didn't buy it at launch. I bought it a little bit after.
Oh, okay.
It was the first console I bought with my own money, so it wasn't at launch.
I remember, and I'm not incriminating myself, I hope, but I remember I had a 20. I think somebody gave me a 20 gig PS3. And then I switched it for like we had like our developers at a company I was working for. They had a 60 gig. So I did the whole switcheroo, and I talked to and granted, I did talk to the manager first. I said, hey, all you guys need is just a PS3, right? Like you guys don't need like a 60 gig, right? You mind if we switch? And you're just like, oh yeah, sure, whatever. And later on, turns out later on the disk drive was broken. So yeah, that was totally not planned, by the way. So, but yeah. Anyway, so that was a good launch. Yeah. So I mean, I think with the PS5 out, I think it's really important, at least for me, to kind of talk about the last gen. There were a lot of good games. There was a lot of bad games, a lot of hyped games, and then there was just normal games that just came out of nowhere. I think there's a lot of retro games too that kind of came out.
Retro made a comeback. I want to say like beginning of the beginning of the decade. Oh, that sounds terrible. I feel like retro kind of made a comeback, and also because it was like it's lower barrier of entry for indie developers if they go retro, because they can usually charge less, usually a little bit less production time. $20 for a 10-hour game is perfectly acceptable.
Totally acceptable, absolutely. And like I said, in fact, one of my entries tonight is one of those games, and I thoroughly enjoyed it up and down, and there's a lot of content in between. I mean, like if you really wanted 100% it, I mean, you can easily put in about 20 hours and no problem. So, but yeah, so
that's funny, Riddell. My whole list is AAA.
Like I said, man, before we started recording, he was just like, yeah, our games are going to overlap. I'm like, I don't know about that one. I
Yeah.
really think that I don't think we're gonna. I think we're gonna have pretty diverse list this time around. And again, this goes to show you about age and types of games we play and just different types of genres. So yeah, I think we can kind of get into this. I think we talked about a little bit about the next gen and what we're looking forward to, and hopefully the controller, by the way, for PS5 is amazing. And when you were talking about the UI the Xbox did, and they didn't really do much, they didn't really do much to the controller either. You know what I mean?
It's
Like,
I think the only thing they changed was the D-pad, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. To be fair, they have a great controller. The Xbox, I think it hasn't really changed much since the 360.
right.
That's still one of my favorite controllers. Like if I had a really well working 360 wired controller, I'd use it for my PC. But it's almost that kind of thing where you have to do something to differentiate yourself.
Right.
Otherwise, why am I buying the console just because
Yeah.
Halo X is coming out?
Yeah,
right?
Halo X and Gears of War X and Forza X. I mean, not to say that those franchises
games.
are they're great games, great franchises. There's nothing wrong with that, but what are you going to do after that? And in fact, you bring up we bring up another point before we get into the list. That controller for the PS5, man. I mean, when you do the tech demo for Astro, for Astro, I mean, if you guys have a PS5, play the Astro. If you guys haven't, I'm pretty sure everybody has.
Spend 10 minutes. You don't
spend 10 minutes.
beat
Oh my
it,
god, dude, it is so cool. It's just the way that they use the controller and between motion sensing and microphone and
the triggers.
Oh my! I would never thought in a million years I would think triggers are really cool. Like, it's dope. It's totally dope.
So to not be terribly biased, I do think the Sony controller hasn't changed at all since the DualShock, right? I mean, they've added 6-axis, which no one uses. They made it wireless.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, from the PS3 from the PS3 360 era, Xbox has always had the superior controller until this gen. I can't afford an Xbox Elite controller. It's like almost $200, so maybe that thing is top notch. But in my opinion, right now, it's the PS5 way out front controller.
Oh yeah,
and then the Xbox One and Switch Pro controller pretty close together. They're almost the same thing. I think
almost the same thing.
They really copied a lot of the design.
Oh yeah,
but they're really close together. The thing about the Switch controller though, it lasts freaking forever, which is awesome.
And I love I mean, some people will hate me on this, but the D-pad on the Switch controller, I really enjoy the Pro controller.
Yeah, come on, man, Nintendo, they know how to make a D-pad.
They know how to make D-pads, man. It's a D-pad. It's a cross, baby. It's a cross.
If it doesn't tear up your thumb, then it's not a D-pad.
No blisters on there.
Right.
All right, man. So let's just get into it, man. So top 5 last gen, previous gen, whatever you want to call it. It's here. We're going to talk about it. This is between so my criteria this week, and I'm just going to start off my criteria.
Go for it, man. Is
going to be between 2010 and 2020. So the last decade. Granted, none of the games I have on here are on PS3 or Xbox 360 as far as I'm aware of. So that's good. But games I've beaten, games that I've thoroughly played over and over again. And I think what else was my criteria? I think those are my only 2 criteria. What's on your list? I mean, what's on your criteria, I should say.
I'm pretty along the same lines. As always, I have to have beat the game.
Right.
But for me, for this go around, I'm not really incorporating like hours spent, because all these games, the initial playthrough was so good. Kind of what you were talking about a few episodes ago, where that's my playthrough. Like it almost like I don't want to cheapen the experience by having a lesser playthrough.
Right.
So it's really the impact for me for like playing it start to finish.
Yep.
For all of these games.
Yep. It's the invocation of emotion that you get. If you want to get deep into it, but I totally get you on that.
I'd rather have a small steak than a bunch of chips or something, right?
That's true. So I think I started last. I think this time I'm gonna have you start, because I'm still kind of ranking it as we're talking. But I mean,
this was hard.
It's a hard list to come up with, especially previous gen, because again, there were a lot of great games. I ain't gonna lie, and I know we always talk about Final Fantasies and we always talk about Street Fighter and blah blah blah.
Mhm.
But I'm so glad now that like I mean I'm sure one game in your particular list is gonna have it, but I know for me personally, like I don't think I'm gonna have anything in relation to that. At least I hope. But yeah, so so Joel, what is your number 5 on the what's your 5 previous gen list?
Number 5 for me is going to be Super Mario Odyssey.
Ah, all right.
So
Great
this is my favorite Super Mario since Super Mario World.
Wow.
So 64 was awesome. It was a great game.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get too much into Sunshine, but Galaxy was also really really good.
Mm-hmm.
But Odyssey, so I kind of noticed this trend right after World.
Mm-hmm.
Mario games kind of had a theme.
Mm.
Right, 64 was like it was 3D. Then Sunshine and Galaxy, they're pretty self-explanatory what those themes are.
Right.
Odyssey, the theme was traveling, right? So
Mm.
each world was like unique and different.
Yes.
And it was almost like, you play through the world. I'm not 100%er, so I didn't do all the moons. I just finished. I was like, all right, I'm so excited to see what's next.
Right.
See what world's next, what enemies I get to control next, which they did an awesome job. Cappy is a great addition. They always try to add something to, in each Mario, and this was like, shit, I got to use a little I don't know the name of the fish, the little weakling fish. I got to use that guy.
The cheap.
Yeah, I get to use that guy, and it's fun. The OST, it's
OST is just
it's awesome.
Immaculate. So good.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, the worlds are what make it. My
Yes.
gameplay wise, Seaside's probably my favorite, the aquatic one.
Oh man, the song in that world.
Yeah. And the boss battle was so fun.
Oh, so epic. So epic on that. And then when you did, if you played again, then you get to do the rebattle, and that's even badass too. Totally, absolutely.
The food world, like
yeah,
it reminded me of Wreck-It Ralph of the racing game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the
Vanellope. Oh gosh, what was it called?
The Mario Kart knockoff. I can't remember the name of it.
Oh, I can't remember. Anyway, but yeah, I totally get like the color schemes and was it Candy Crush Mountain? Hold on, I have to look it up.
It was some I don't remember, but every world's great. Even the Moon World, world was good.
Yeah, I mean just the first world in general, and then of course you cannot give props out to Metro Kingdom, man. Donk City. Oh
yeah. I seen the previews. I was like, small Mario with traditional shaped people. How's that gonna work? But it worked.
It worked. Yeah. It definitely worked. I had one of the coolest things that's happened since, I mean, other than the fact that having my son born, was he's huge into Mario, right? And so the game that I got, that I started playing with them, it was the first game we actually started playing, not together, but like he was like kind of watching with me and kind of playing with the second controller, was Odyssey. So I had the privilege to be able to play it again, right? Because I played it the first time, I loved it, and then played it again with him, and I'm like, man, this game just holds up. It's so good, like it's just amazing.
And the funny thing is, and maybe I'm biased because I played it mostly handheld. I almost think it's better handheld.
I disagree. I disagree. I totally, when we were watching it on the big screen, I love the Switch. I love the portability of it. Not really a big portable fan, but I mean, the visuals on there, even though it's 1080p. I mean, again, Nintendo doesn't have the strongest graphics, but man, like it's just so crispy. And like I love that game. You really nailed it with number 5. That's a good one. That's a really good one. And now when I'm say my number 5, I'm like, yeah, it's not as cool. So all right, good deal. So my number 5 is, I mean, in the magnitude of what the game is, it's not nearly as large, but I will say, I talked about this earlier, was that this is one of my favorite games of last gen, and it's an indie game, believe it or not, and it's Guacamelee 2.
I knew you're a huge Guacamelee fan.
I am, and I love Metroidvania games. I love Super Metroid, so and I love Castlevania, so hence the name Metroidvanias. And this, by all means, I mean, I love the fact that the game was based in Mexico, right? You have luchadors, which I love wrestling.
You don't see that theme very often.
You don't
in the gaming world.
No, you don't. You don't see that. You don't see, Dia de los Muertos, like the whole, Land of the Dead, and you see all the sugar skulls. And one thing that again, and I'm pretty sure you haven't played it, Joel, but the one thing that people sleep on this, the dialogue in that game is absolutely fantastic. It is written so well, and it makes you laugh, and you're just. And not many games make me laugh. Like when you read it, you're like, oh wow, that's kind of funny. But then when you read it, like, oh wow. I see what you did there. And the story is all right. I mean, it's not like, a groundbreaking story. It's, him coming back from the dead to try to beat this other, wrestler. Sure, no problem. But the gameplay, beat 'em up wise, was just phenomenal. I mean, between that and just the fact that you have to go back and forth, you have to find different things, and you have, your different powers, and you turn into a chicken. Like a lot of different things on there. I know that again, you played your indie games. I think one of your favorite indie games was Transistor. Was it Transistor or Bastion?
Bastion. So I did beat the first Guacamelee. Funny thing is, me and my wife tried to play it co-op, and
oh no,
didn't work out. So I beat it solo. I think I own 2 on 1 or 2 platforms, but I never played it. So I'll have to give it a shot, because I really enjoyed 1. It was a really fun beat 'em up. I guess a modern beat 'em up, if you want to call it that.
It's a modern beat 'em up platformer / Metroidvania thing. But I mean, I knowing you and your wife, I know how it can probably get pretty difficult. Like, so, especially because in co-op modes, at least for Guacamelee 2, is like you have to. You have to both be in sync. Like one person
you can't do all the puzzles if you're by yourself.
Right. No, it's not even puzzles. It's more like platforming between each jump. Like if one person dies, like like you're like sent all the way back again. It's just you have to like be in sync. So it's almost like Overcooked, where it's just like, hey man, you're supposed to be doing this.
It's weakest link, man.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. So all right, good deal. So Guacamelee, my number 5. Joel, what did you have for your number 4?
Number 4 for me is gonna be Persona 5 Royal.
Yeah.
So it's, if you know Persona, this is it's Persona. It's high school gang fighting forces of evil. Usually some godlike figure.
Yep.
It's one of the few, like, I think that this and Dragon Quest are one of the last few traditional JRPG series.
Yep.
I know Square is doing their kind of thing, their indie thing with like I Am Setsuna and games like that, but major franchises, I think this and Dragon Quest are the last ones we're gonna have.
Yeah.
They do it great. It's turn based. It's not action RPG at all.
Makes you think.
You have to be methodical, especially at like harder difficulties, or if you do any of the secret bosses.
Yep.
I'm sure you guys know Persona 5 pretty well. The story is awesome. OST is one of the best OSTs
ever made.
Period.
Yep.
I do want to say, if you played the original Persona 5, in my opinion, Royal is worth. I don't know how much it's charging now, but when it came out, it was $60. It's worth the $60.
As of this recording, I'm pretty sure that Best Buy still has the Royal edition of Persona 5 for $20, which is a steal.
It's a steal. It's easily 20 extra hours of gameplay.
20 extra hours of gameplay, very noticeable gameplay. So one of the things that you listeners and watchers, you should be realizing is that if you guys played Persona 5 and you play Royal, it's a great game to replay. I mean, just because of the fact that it gave you enough time to move on and then come back to the series, unless you played it over and over again, try to 100% the first time. But
it's so good where I'm like, I know they made a lot of changes to the original story, but I don't even recognize them, because it's like it's not jarring, or it's not like, oh crap, there's like a different voice actor for this part. They did it very, very well.
Right.
To me, I couldn't even tell when they changed it, which to me is a plus.
Yes. They
added a lot of like creature comfort things in the battle system.
Yes.
Those are appreciated.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually, it's my only platinum. So if you're about trophy collecting, it's an easy plat.
It's a very easy plat, because you just have to follow the story, man.
Except for the story and do like one other thing, like play the pain game, and you're done. Buy a lottery ticket, you're done.
Buy a lottery ticket, because guys, if you guys need that platinum, and I didn't do it. Now I have to replay the game just to buy a damn
Multiple
lottery
save
ticket.
files,
And
guys.
I
Multiple
know
save files.
I am not a multiple save file person. I'll just rewrite it. Every time they give me the notification to say, you sure you want to overwrite this? I'm like, man, if I clicked on it before, what do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to click on it.
It's like, come on. I lived in a day of 15 slots. I can't afford extra save slots.
Hey, man, some games took up three or four slots at a time.
They did.
That memory card. By the way, guys, look out for one of our future episodes, top 5 gaming innovations. That's going to be a pretty fun episode, I think. So, all right, so Persona 5, I gotta say that is also my number 4. That's easy. I mean, we're definitely gonna overlap. I'm pretty sure of that. I was gonna say Persona 5 just in general, but Royal does make make it, because seriously, it's just a way better game overall. Not to say that the original game was bad. It wasn't. I mean, like I said, I'll play that game over again if I can. But if I had the choice, I would definitely go the Royal route. And style wise, gameplay wise, and I think they made the game, to me, they made the game a little easier.
They did. Did you ever feel the need to upgrade your gun in the original game?
No,
because you only use it for weakness, and you had such limited ammo, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. And there was no point. I mean, like, you have 8 bullets, and it's not really going to kill the enemy in like 3. And then after that, once you're done, I don't remember if you refill your ammo after every battle. That wasn't the original.
You have one clip
per dungeon. I'm sorry. Excuse my brothers will kill me if I say clip. You have one magazine. And it's not a clip, it's a magazine, because my brothers would always harp on me every time we would go to the range. I'm like, hey, do you have another bullet in the clip? No, it's a magazine. Okay, sorry. All right, so pretty easy. Number 4 is, we line up on that. I'm pretty sure that was an easy peasy one. So now we're getting to the nitty gritty of this. We're getting a little bit deeper. So number 3, Joel, what do you got?
So number 3, so to me, this generation was really the gen of the open world genre. Like, all of my honorable mentions are open world games. A few of the games on my remaining are open world games. But one that really stuck out to me was Red Dead Redemption 2. It was, I don't want to say the best of them, but let's say if we go PS4, it was the best of the open worlds. It was the best done. If you guys know it, it's a Western setting.
Yep.
But in this game, the reason why I say it was the best done was the side missions actually had content to them. They were like,
had substance.
They weren't just, hey, get me an item from the town and come back. None of that garbage. It was, find a criminal. He has a bounty. It was play Texas Hold'em, which was pretty damn cool.
Playing Hold'em in the olden days.
In the olden days, yeah, it actually is a side quest where you have to play Hold'em with this drunk guy.
Right.
But yeah, the gunplay was top notch. I've always been a fan of the Western era gunplay, because you have your single reloading guns, I have a repeater. It's so awesome. Right. But yeah, the story's good. This is probably my favorite. I'm not really a prequel guy. Like, if a new game comes out and it's a prequel, I'm not as excited for it, because usually it's like, I know I let's move forward, guys.
Right.
But this one was done really, really well, and it ties into Red Dead Redemption 1. Really, you actually play into Red Dead Redemption 1.
Yeah.
Once you get to the end game, a lot of content. The game is super long. I think this is one of the first games that really showed me the power of the PS4 Pro, if you want to go with that.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it was. I'm sure it was loud as hell when you were playing.
Oh, it was a vacuum. But the first hour, you're in snow, and it's like, oh shit, I have footprints.
Yeah. Wow,
and they're staying. They're not disappearing. That's kind of
cool. I did play this game for a while. I think I got maybe 30 to 40%. I think I stopped at the part where John Marston and I. By the way, that's my boy, man, from Red Dead Redemption 1. It's my man. And we were trying to steal the horses from the I think it was stealing horses, or it was some mission where you had to sneak in and do some
stealing
stuff.
A chariot, I think.
Yeah, you're stealing a chariot, right?
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure it out. I just couldn't figure it out. And I was just like, I think I'm good, man. I mean, I liked it. I did enjoy it. I definitely see where you're coming from on that. wasn't really my favorite. Not because I suck at it. It was more just I think we talked about this before. Is like
Mhm.
it was too realistic.
So
like
the Deadeye from Red Dead Redemption 1
yeah,
is still there, but
yeah,
it's not like a cheat code. You definitely can't spam it as much.
right.
So you have to be a little like not a lot, but a little more tactical in your approaches.
It wasn't that, dude. It was the hey man, main character's hungry. He needs some food. Oh no, he's dead. Like you're just
That's why
like dude, like hey man, like you should all you need is a pack of tobacco and like some beef jerky and you'll be all right. But no, like you have to get like different types of food and you gotta, rummage around in all these houses. And I'm just like,
see I like that. Like I go to the town. What are the new clothes in the shop? I'm gonna buy my new vest. Before I leave, I'm gonna stop by the saloon. I haven't had some beans in a while. I'll get some beans. You know what? I got some extra funds. Let's play some Hold'em. I enjoyed that. And I before I even got to them in story mode, I actually went to the different towns because I wanted different clothes. That's my
wow.
jam. I'm all about that. I spent way too much time like customizing the outfits.
Wow. Really?
It was a fun time.
I always forget you're I wouldn't say you're fashionista, and like you're not like
No.
but I mean, color coordination, all that stuff. I remember one time like you're like, oh man, dude, you look really good if you had these chucks and these clothes. I'm like, how did you know this?
It was the laces from your
It was the laces,
your
right?
maroon chucks.
Yeah.
Your maroon chucks.
Yeah. And I was like, man, dude, like how do you know these things?
You should really get some gray laces with those chucks, man.
I know, man. I'm telling you. But great choice. I mean, again, nothing wrong with the game. It was just me. Like I'll tell you that right now. Like between the story was really good, and somebody spoiled it for me at lunch one time, but it wasn't really spoiling. She was just she meaning Megan, our previous special guest this month. She was the one that kind of told me what happened, and I was like, oh, okay, that actually is kind of cool that it happened. I wish I would have continued forward with that, but
the thing I do think this happens. We never ran a consensus or like a poll to see the age range of our listeners, but as you get older, I mean, if there's one, if you can't really afford to get stuck in the game and keep playing it, right? It's just not. Me and Riddell have such huge backlogs. If we get stuck, we're not going to keep beating our heads over it. We're just going to move on. So I totally understand that aspect.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you can tell your Horizon Zero Dawn story one day, but yeah, if there's something that inconveniences us, or we're not in love and we get stuck, we're not going to stay. This is the same reason I never finished Nier.
Yeah. Well, again, this goes back to we're older, we have the money, and it's like, I mean, granted, again, I'll buy the game on discount as much as I can, and if I can't beat it, then yeah, you're right. I'll just be like, all right, I'm done. But I'm not 10 where like that's the only game that I have.
Right.
I have to beat the game because otherwise, like I just wasted all my allowance, and whatever. It's just like,
or you're not 20 where you play every new game and you have nothing to play after if you don't play this game because you're waiting for the next new game, right?
Yeah. I was totally like that in my 20s where I had the FOMO where, I had to buy the game on release week. If I didn't buy the game on release week, I just don't buy it anymore. I'm just like, forget it. Like I'm done.
The hype's over.
The hype's over. Game over. I'm done. I think one of the worst of it. Well, no, it wasn't Vice City because I played the hell out of that game.
Vice City or 3? I preferred 3.
No, like Vice City, dude. Oh man, Ray Liotta and all the guest voice actors in the 80s. I mean, I'm not really 80s kid, but I mean, it's like it was so good. Like it was basically just playing Scarface, but with.
I was gonna say because at that time I wasn't introduced to the beauty of the Godfather and Scarface movies, but sorry.
No, and I'm just saying, I mean, just to get off on a small little smidge of tangent, I'll tell you guys this right now: Scarface wasn't a great movie. I'm sorry, like I didn't really care for it, and everybody and their mother is like, "Oh, it's such a great movie," or all the rappers in the world, Scarface, man, that's my dog, like that's my rapper, that's my persona, that's who I am. I'm Tony Montana. Like, no, you're not, dude. You're not Tony Montana. Okay, he was a crazy guy. All right, he was a crazy guy that did a lot of drugs, and all he did was shoot bazookas all over the place at the end and just went to town. Okay, great. You want to be that guy? Fantastic.
Great memorable ending scene does not make a great movie.
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's what I'm saying. I'm like,
unpopular opinion. I like this movie.
Right.
People swear that Usual Suspects is like top 5 movie. Top 5 ending Top 5 movie.
Eh,
I know I really liked the movie. I really liked it, but
I will agree with that. I will definitely take that into consideration. Okay. Sorry, tangent over. Red Dead Redemption, great game. And again, we'll continue on with this. My number 3 comes in with something that everybody always gives me crap for, because for whatever reason I enjoy this game so much, but everybody else doesn't. That game is Monster Hunter World. And so
I was wondering where this was going to be on your list.
Yeah, so Monster Hunter World, it was really tough to get. I was gonna make it close to the end, but I couldn't. Monster Hunter World. What's funny about this game is that I played my first ever experience with Monster Hunter was on Wii U, and it was absolutely horrible, garbage. It was absolutely terrible, and I don't even remember who told me to get Monster Hunter World. I think it may have been my buddy Jeff, but he was like, "Oh, you should play Monster Hunter, man. It's so cool." And I'm like, I played the one on Wii and it really sucked and blah blah blah. It's like, no, man, like try it out. Let me know how you like it. I'm like, all right, on a whim, right? So I think it was kind of hype train at that point. Man, did I fall in love with this game. Oh my god, I love this game so much. In fact, I love the game so much that I not only did I beat the game on PS4, I bought it on PC and I beat the game on PC. Like, and mind you guys, this is like a 40-hour game. You have to like level up your character and all this other stuff, and you can play with other people. But did that, and then I got the expansion for both the PS4 and PC and beat them both. Telling you, man, it's so good. I know you're shaking your head, Joel, because it's just way too slow for you. I get it.
I don't know how to explain it, and I think it's because we have a, I think part of me thinks it has to do with your fighting game background. So Monster Hunter World, the battle system, you have to be precise. You can't like, if you start a combo, you're gonna finish the combo even if you're hitting a tree at that point and the monster is behind you. You can't bail out of a combo halfway through and roll somewhere else. That's where I struggle with it. It's kind of similar to why I'm not a huge fan of Shadow of the Colossus. Is I know that's a gameplay mechanic, but to me, it makes me feel like the game is sluggish, which it's not. Right. But to me, it feels like it. Again, I think that where it comes into your fighting game background, where I don't execute combo X unless I have the timing and the spacing to do it. Right. The gameplay just never jive with me. I played with Riddell online, I think twice. So yeah, I tried it. The fighting didn't click. Right. It seems like a very cool universe, very very stylistic game. Yeah, very cool concepts. Never really loved the gameplay.
Yeah, man. It's definitely an acquired taste. And this is the game that actually, and believe it or not, guys, this is actually the game that made the series more approachable to everybody, to the entire world. I mean, really, because when you're playing the Wii U or the PSP version, all those other versions, like oh my god, man! Like, you had to load between zones, You know how like jarring that is to, like, you have to run and find the monster, and all of a sudden, like, you have to load into another zone. At that point, I just want to turn off the game. Like, I don't want to wait it load. So with the system that they have here, where everything's just one continuous like big world, and you're just fighting these crazy monsters, these like damage sponges, it's just something very very satisfying, especially when you capture a monster. That's the thing that's super satisfying. I'm not a big loot fan. This is the only time I ever was kind of a loot person. Like, I want to get these parts so that way I can make this better weapon and blah blah blah. But the reality for me is like, I play a lot of Final Fantasy 14. It's just I'll play so that way I can get like the highest item on there. I don't care about crafting. I really don't. Like, I can care less. And so it's just I'll do it. I'll play it just so that way I can get to the next level. But I don't want to be like, oh, I'm gonna fight this monster like 10 million times just so that way I can get X, Y, and Z.
I was gonna say, is Monster Hunter, like, as long as you cut off the right parts, is it less RNG than like Final Fantasy 14 is?
You're absolutely right. Yes. So if you cut off the particular part, you actually get the part. Like, so if you need a tail,
so it's more of a skill thing. It's less than shit, I only have 1 in 15 chance, and I'm just gonna try
s-
over and over and
certain
over.
there's certain things, like I mean, they have like really stupid items, like like I don't know, like a Jagra eyelash, it only
Mhm.
drops like 1 in 25 hits. I'm like, man, but I mean most items are pretty standard. So but yeah, Monster Hunter World, give it a shot. PC, PS4, all that good stuff. I'm not uh I'm not sponsored, but it's just, man, it's such a good game, man. I'll tell you that much, dude. And it's just, it's good with friends that want to play. I'll tell you that.
It's a Capcom game, right?
Yes, of course. Come on, man. Capcom can
Come
do no
on,
wrong,
man.
man. Come on, man.
Capcom. This man needs a sponsorship. Capcom.
Hashtag Capcom, please give me a job. Anyway, so number 2, we're getting close, man. What have you got?
So number 2 for me, this number 2 and number 1 flip flopped over and over, and I think Redell knows what my 2 games are.
Yeah.
But these flip flopped a lot. I literally decided maybe this morning what number 2 and when we're going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is going to be Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Oh my God! No way! Wow.
Yep. So this was an amazing game.
Oh,
It's you've played this game. If you're listening to this podcast, you've played this game.
If you own a Switch and you don't play this game, you're not a gamer. I'll call you guys out. I'll call every woman, child, man, anybody. If you do not play this game, if you have the Switch and you do not play this game, you are not a gamer. Don't even associate yourself. Just stop listening to the game.
If this game came out, so I bought the Switch for this game because it was a launch title, the best launch title of all time, by the way.
Absolutely, 100%.
If Nintendo blew up after this game came out and never made another game again, I'd be, well, good purchase.
Yeah, all right. Yep,
good purchase. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. The gameplay is top notch. I don't. Everyone hates the weapon breaking. I don't, because you get a better weapon pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
I love the aesthetic. They did it very well. As Redell mentioned, Nintendo's never been the like the 4K resolution company, but they know how to do style, and this style was awesome.
Yes.
The exploration, open world Zelda game. I mean, what can you ask for more?
And I'm not an open world person, guys. I am not by any means.
Redell's not, but in this time it was actually like, hey, I climbed this mountain and look, there was something there. And I was like, oh, cool, man. Like Redell doesn't do that. Redell wants a point A to point B, guideline, I guess.
Yes.
But no, it was the perfect game to come out for the Switch.
Yes.
Especially with I know a lot of people were kind of like missing their dungeons because they did like 4 big dungeons and a bunch of small ones.
Mm-hmm.
But the small ones were perfect with the Switch because I can do one.
Yep.
Turn it off and then play at lunch and do another one and turn it off.
Yep.
And not have to worry about it. So Breath of the Wild, I love that game. It was a neck and neck tie for 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing this is on your list as well, Redell. I'm not sure at what spot, but you want to chime in a little bit and not spoil your part?
Honestly, man, I can't, man. I mean, like there's only good things to be said about this game. And I think that to perfectly be honest, right, is that one of the best things about this game was the memories that and again, I'm super corny, so don't shoot me for this, but the best thing about this game, other than the fact that the gameplay, graphics, everything under the sun, one of the best things for me was the memories that I had between myself, Joel, and our other coworker Mark on how we deciphered and did things in the game. Mm-hmm. That was one of the things about this game that I've never done with anybody since Street Fighter 2, where it was like, oh, how do you do this combo? It was like, hey, Joel, like one of the things I remember Joel telling me was like, yeah, man, like you go to this island over here and then you chop down a bunch of trees and hit durian. And in that way, instead of using your orbs to go, make hearts, just put it towards your stamina. That way you can just last forever. But then you can make 5 durian, you'll get like 20 hearts. I'm like, that's amazing.
Don't cook anything else. Just cook durian. That's all you need.
That's all you need. Like you don't need anything else. You just need durian. It's just things like that. It was just I'll always remember that. I remember, being in the lunchroom and like, oh, I needed to go over here real quick or whatever. Or how how if you like Rivali, you're just terrible because that guy's an asshole. Like he's just a huge dick. His
power is super cool, but
yeah, I mean, he had the most useful power, and then second place was Mifa. But it's just, yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong about this game. I mean, there's a lot of games in the world that I love. This game in particular, this game could do no wrong. I'm sorry, I don't care what anybody says.
Mm-hmm. It's a modern game that this is the kind of pattern you see, right? In modern games, it's always like, well, you do everything this way.
Right.
And this was like a modern game that kind of threw back to back in the day where there was no internet, and you just talk to your friends like, hey, how'd you beat this boss? Well,
Right.
I did it this way. Oh,
Yep.
sweet, I'll try it next time.
Yep.
And yeah, it's an open world game where I might not have like a waypoint over the mountain, but most of the time if I go over the mountain, I'll find a Korok seed or another dungeon. So I'll do it because I know there's something there, and it's just a fun journey.
Yeah. It was one of the very few games that I've ever played where I didn't want it to end, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to beat the game. Like I wanted to keep exploring as much as I could, and then finally, when I was done with it, I'm like, okay, it's time to go fight Ganon now. And like you're OP by then. Like you're just like,
And those that complain about the story, it's not an RPG.
Right.
Find all the hidden scenes. The story is good. It's not an RPG. But it's a good story, and I hope they expand on it into.
So, I mean, okay, here, let's just put it this way. Other than the Breath of the Wild story, can you name a Zelda that actually had a good story? Exactly, right? Yeah. And actually, the only one that can really come to mind was a game I played recently. If you guys haven't played it, you guys should totally play this next Zelda, which is kind of a precursor to Breath of the Wild, Wind Waker. If you guys ever have a chance to play it, oh man, it's probably one of my favorite Zeldas now. Like for real, this is really good. And episode 4, I think, with Mark, like one of the earlier episodes of What's Your Five, that was one of his favorite games, and he's like, oh, you should go play it. I think afterwards I ended up playing it, and I was like, this is an amazing game. Like it's a really good game. I ended up buying a Wii U used just so that I can play the damn game. So yeah, I mean, I gotta say, we've already talked about it. That's my number 2 as well. There's no, I mean, you know what, Joel? I'm sorry. Let me take back my whole we're not going to overlap thing. You're right. We were going to overlap.
I knew at least a couple.
At least a couple for sure. Because I
mean this game is a generational game.
It is.
So disclaimer: this game is standalone better than my number 1. I will admit that.
Wow.
But we'll get to there we'll get to that when we get there.
Well, we're gonna get there now, man. Because if Breath of the Wild is my number, oh wait, I forget before we do that, we also have to do our usual. What's our our honorable mentions before we get to our number 1s. I'll start because you're ending, or you're gonna start the end. I think so. Mario Odyssey was definitely one of them. Again,
not in your top. I didn't think it was gonna be number 1, but I thought
no, it wasn't. No, so Mario Odyssey was definitely up there. I hate to do it, but Dragon Quest 11 was on there, and I was really.
We don't love that game.
I love the game, and what's funny is that our buddy Mark, he was the one that was like, dude, the game's really good, and I'm like, I don't know, man, I can't get over the English voice acting, but then when it came out on Switch and you can change it to Japanese voices, totally tolerable game after that. I was like, okay, I can deal with this now. I'm good. But again, what we talked about before, traditional JRPGs, I'm a huge sucker for them. And if it's Square that's making it and it's a Dragon Quest or whatever, I'm sold. I'm there. So those are a couple of my honorables. Oh, I'm sorry. And one more is and what's funny is you didn't really like this game. I'm not sure why. Link's Awakening, the remake.
It was too old school for me. I know it was remastered, but they changed the graphics and some of the gameplay.
Yeah.
But I know this is classic Zelda trope, but I can't get past. I think when I stopped playing, it was one dungeon where I knew where I had to go. I couldn't get across. I was trying to jump. I couldn't get there.
Right.
So I had to look it up. A random bush had a ladder underneath it, and I was like, "There's no sign. There's no like this bush is important." It was just a random bush with a ladder under it, and I was like, "Yeah, not doing this game anymore." So, I literally spent a good 30-40 minutes like trying to get there, refusing to look it up. Finally did. Random bush.
Did the wife beat it?
I know. She played the original, I believe.
Oh yeah, I mean, I played the original too, but I loved the remake. I thought it was fantastic, and again, some people liked it, some people didn't. I thought it was a really great game. It was. I mean, I'm not saying it was generational by any means, but it's definitely there. So, all right. So, how about you, sir? What do you have for your?
My honorable mentions are pretty much the PS4 top games if you just Google it. I got God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, Spider-Man, Ghost of Tsushima, Uncharted, and Mario Kart 8.
Mario Kart 8. Okay. No,
I love the game, man.
No, I know. You're a big cheater in that game. I don't care what you and your wife do, man. I don't know what you guys do. You guys put some cheat codes in there before we go online or something. But man, I don't know how you guys are able to play like 200 CCs and like go to town. Like,
dude, drift braking, it changes your life.
I don't know, man. Like I said, there's a Street Fighter for Joel and his wife. That would be it. I will tell you that right now. All right, so let's finish it off, man. Let's kill this thing. Number one, sir. What do you got?
Number one for me is going to be Final Fantasy VII Remake. God, so, as I mentioned, if we go standalone, if this game was actually Final Fantasy 16 Episode 1, then Breath of the Wild is a better game. It'd probably be like a 9 out of 10. It would have been maybe an honorable mention or a number 5.
Mm-hmm.
But I waited for this game for 15 years, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Ever since the PS3 tech demo.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, I mean, okay, so let's get that out of the way. It had really bad side quests, really bad. Like you want to skip them; they're that bad.
Very, very bad.
And then it had some really questionable texture decisions. So like, I'm climbing up this cool ladder and everything looks neat, but like the background, like PS2 graphics. What's like? Did they lose? Did they run out of time? Did they dedicate too much video memory to the front? I don't know.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people complain about those two things.
Mm-hmm.
But that aside, this is so let's talk about core gameplay first before I go into the nostalgia.
Okay.
This is action RPG done perfect. There is no better action RPG in terms of gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect blend. Mm-hmm. So you can actually combo in this game. You can juggle in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Like with Tifa. Tifa's like the best character in the game, by the way. But you can juggle. Yes. But you still have RPG elements like damage output and life.
Mm-hmm.
It's a gorgeous game. It really shows off the PS4 Pro.
It is.
Like, even if you just look at like stills, the characters are really, really well done.
Mm-hmm.
The graphics are amazing. But so those are like the core things, right? But it and this is one of the reasons why I didn't do a second playthrough yet. Every single scene, I was like, oh, I can't wait to see how they did this one.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to see how they did Wall Market. I can't wait to see how they did Shinra Tower.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to see how they did the Hell House.
Right.
And every time they actually exceeded my expectations.
Wow.
They were faithful enough where I felt nostalgia, but it wasn't exactly the same. They tweaked it a little bit to either modernize it or make it a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't played through it yet. I'm going to play through it again because I want to platinum this game. But it's like what we were talking about before. This game, that my experience was so good that I know a second playthrough won't be as good, and I don't want to replace my first playthrough with my second.
You don't want to sully the taste. Like
I don't. So I want to platinum it just because it's one of my favorite games of all time, and it's the remake of my favorite game of all time.
Yep.
But I might have to wait until I play through the next 2 episodes and then run it through, run it back.
Right.
But yeah, this is my favorite game of the generation. I again waited for this game for 15 years. I went through every delay, and I never lost faith. I was like, well, 2 more years. What 2 more years to 10 years? Riddell knows how much I was looking forward to this game. Every time there's a new news came out, I'd be like, oh, dude, did you see the character model that came out? He'd be like, sure, character model. Come on.
like I've seen this before. It's called Final Fantasy VII Advent Children.
Right. It's like, did you see the demo that came out? Can you play a demo? No. Whatever, man.
I owe it to you and everybody else in the world to play this game, and so I was very excited when I got my PS5, and I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna load this game onto the hard drive, and we're gonna get it going. And then, sure enough, what do I see in the upper right corner of my system? Cannot install this game. Cannot install this update. And I'm like, what the F, dude? Like, really? Like, this is the one game that I'm like, I need to play this.
The first backwards compat game you'll play.
I know. Oh my god, I was so pissed. And so I'm waiting for Sony to fix it or do whatever it takes to get them to do that, because I do want to beat this. I do want to play this game, and I want to beat this game. Again, I owe it to you, but I also owe it to a bunch of other people too. And it's just like, I know that I would enjoy it too. But yeah, I definitely saw that one coming. should have.
It was close though. So the reason why 1 and 2, and I was it's a remake of my favorite game of all time,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it was almost a no-brainer to be number one.
right.
But the experience of the Switch for the first time,
Oh,
how perfect it was, of like
yeah,
I can do a dungeon and then put it down, and I
right.
can talk with you guys about it. It made it really really close.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh man, I'm telling you, man. Like the experience of that was just outright outstanding. Um, so so with
I'm
it's
kind of
funny
worried
that
what your number one is. I'm kind of worried now.
all right.
There's only one
So
game I can think of. I'll let you.
all right. So if you're worried about it, then you should be because in fact I was playing this last night and
No, Rodell,
I'm
no.
sorry, dude, but I got to do it because you know what? As much as I hate this game, I love this game, and I don't know why. And it's Street Fighter Five. I know. A lot of people know that Street Fighter Five is not everybody's favorite. I am a huge Street Fighter fan, so sue me. You're a big Final Fantasy Seven fan. I'll sue you. This
You were
game,
just saying how it's like ruining your health.
I know, dude. I'm telling you. Okay, so first of all, uh, I enjoy the game competition. Any
Yeah.
competition for the matter. It fuels me. Learning new characters always fuel me too. I know that the game, had a really rocky start. It didn't really have a story mode, didn't have any of the
Mhm.
stuff, but I didn't care. I'm a huge fighting game fan, so it's like I'll just play it anyways. Anything Capcom Street Fighter related, I'm there. And played it. I remember buying this game 2016. um I got let go from my job, and I had to study for a test for Cisco before I made this my mantra, or my reward. I was like, I'm gonna beat this game. I'm sorry, I'm gonna beat this test and get this damn certificate. And when I'm done, I'm gonna play Street Fighter till my heart's content. I failed that test, got so pissed, and I said, you know what? F this. I'm just gonna play Street Fighter and I don't care. And then I got to where I got to meet Joel and Mark and all that stuff, and it all turned out well. But anyway,
It's almost like like I passed this test and I'm gonna get drunk as hell. I didn't pass. I gotta get drunk as hell now.
Yeah, dude. So and anyway, so why is this my number one game? No idea, man. It gets me coming back to playing the damn game. So you guys have this rank system where you earn points, and then you rank up. You don't get anything out of it other than bragging rights. You don't buy new clothes, or you don't buy anything else. You just rank up to whatever, and then it's where your skill ceiling is at. But what they don't tell you, it's gambling, because you win six. So let's make it simple, right? So you win 10 points if you win.
Mhm.
If you lose, you lose. What is it? Like, so you lose 5 points. But let's just say, for example, like I'm higher rank and Joel is like, rookie, right? But he beats me. He'll win 50 points and I'll lose like 100 points.
Okay,
How does
so
that work?
do you ever like have the desire to make a new PSN account so you can start like raping people with points?
So just so you guys know, I do have what they call, this is the new term, Joel, a Smurf account, which you have a new account, and I did this through Steam so that way I can do it through PC. I don't want to pay
Mhm.
another PSN name, and you I wanted to make sure that when I'm learning this new character, that
That
I
makes
was
sense. You
able
don't want
to.
to lose your hard-earned points that
Oh
don't do anything for you, right?
no, dude! I got up to that point and I stopped because I seriously was gonna have a heart attack, or I was gonna die of a stroke or something. Because if I would have lost all those points that I worked so hard for within the past few years because I wanted to learn a new character, I would be like, forget it, I'm done. And I was just telling Joel before today. I was like, dude, I need to stop playing this game, man. Like,
Dude, so
I have a $500 system in my living room right now, about to play Miles Morales, but instead I come back to this, gambling casino game to try and see if I can beat the system, and then turns out I lose to lag and all this other stuff. So why is this my number one game after you guys are hearing me complain about it this whole time? I have no idea. It's Capcom. It's Capcom.
Capcom, this man needs a sponsorship. Whatever you can throw, t-shirts, whatever, plushies. Just
I have plushies, man. I got plushies downstairs. I got in fact, I think one of the giveaways, or just so you guys know, if you guys are listening, the one of the giveaways I'm going to try and do in December is my Hello Kitty plushie collection of Street Fighter characters. It's pretty slick. So I have
that's actually a pretty big thing. That's a great collaboration.
Oh yeah, so it's Hello Kitty, so it's a crossover, and so it was I have Badit's Ryu. I know, is it Badit's Ryu? Yeah. Which is the penguin, and then I have Hello Kitty Akuma, and then Hello Kitty Chun-Li. So that's definitely going to be part of the giveaway coming up in December. So please make sure to tune in for that. But yeah, Street Fighter 5, I love that game. I really hate that game. Take it for what it is, but man, it's definitely it was definitely hard to choose. But at the end of it, man, I really do enjoy playing the game. I mean, this game has long-standing longevity. I bought this game how many times? Let's see. I bought it for my nephew. I bought it for my nephew on Steam. Then I bought it for him on PS4 because I wanted to play at his house when I went to my brother's house. Then I bought it for my PC. Then I bought it for my PS4. I bought this game. How many times did you buy Final Fantasy 7 for now? Just curious.
At least 5, I want to say.
So I don't know what it is, dude. I don't know. But
this is the one. This is the game you went to your last Evo for, right?
I did. Yeah, this is the game that I went to day 2. It was like, usually I never get to day 2. Yeah, so I was like super awesome. But yeah, this is I miss Evo. Man, I wish we would have went this year. Anyway, so that is my number 1. What did you guys think of this list? Did we miss anything? I don't know. Leave a comment down below, and let us know what your top 5 is. You guys always can reach us at Twitter, Instagram, and now TikTok at what's your _5. If you have any topic suggestions, please reach out to us at topics@what'syour5.com. Before we go though, Joel, we have to do our question, but my questions are on the floor, so give me 2 seconds. All right. So I got my video game questionnaires here. Let's see what we got here.
Remember, guys, honor system here.
Honor system, guys. Come on now. You guys don't need to Google everything.
No one likes to cheat.
No one likes to cheat. Come on. If you guys answer it and leave a comment down below, like I said, you guys might get something cool, just so you know. All right, here we go. And totally looking here. Let's see. Oh, hold on. I am old and I'm blind. Doesn't work too well. Okay, here we go. Let's see here. In the 1998 game Metal Gear Solid, what was the name of the Rogue Black Ops unit led by Liquid Snake? Let us know in the comments below, guys.
If you guys don't get this one, then
I'm just I don't know what
I almost said unsubscribe, but please do not unsubscribe.
All right. Well, again, thank you guys very much for watching and listening. You guys know the drill. That's Joel. My name's Rodell, and we're going to have a great night. Thank you guys very much for everything. Talk to you guys later.
See you guys.
See ya.